Come on. What's that called? Read chapter 2?
Half of it.
Half of it. It was in the first half. What's that called? Just think, what did it do to it?
Room. Like right.
Okay, this is called a constrictor tool. And what it does is allows you. Let's say I want to put 3/8 tubing in there. Well, you didn't make it. If you make that ridge a little deeper, what you're doing, it'll be a stop point. So it needed another turn or two on there. And that's how, so that you don't put the tube in too deep, or you want it to have a point where it stops. You can feel the lip in there. It just needs a little bit more to restrict that down to 3/8 of a diameter so that the tube won't go beyond that point, okay? So that is called a constrictor tool, okay? So when you're grabbing this, don't say, hey, Mr. Hurtado, listen, look what it's doing. It doesn't cut my tubing. It needs a new blade. What kind of tool is it? Constrictor tool. It's not a tubing cutter. It looks like a tubing cutter, but it's a constrictor tool. And that's really, really handy. It's a really handy tool because there's a lot of times. I'm going to finish what Dexter started out. See that, Dexter? Check that out. See how easy that works? Now let's check it before we go taking that tool out. Oh, look at there. It holds it in place. What do you think? Now, what mark do you, at what point do you put that? I told you.
That you were gonna,
what?
the width of the tube that you're going to put in?
The diameter of the tube.
Diameter.
That's where you put it. But just a ballpark, just a rule of thumb, okay? So there. Now you can see that 3/8 will stay right in place and won't slide down the tube. So if you're having to do that kind of configuration of tubing, hooking tubing, a larger to a smaller tubing, use that constrictor tool. It's great. Okay? Any questions? All right. Now, so we saw that you can make a coupling out of a size larger tube, right? Right? We saw that quarter slides into 3/8, 3/8 slides into half, half slides into 5/8, 5/8 into 3/4, 3/4 into 7/8, okay? That's how it works. Now, in tubing, we jump to 1 1/8. We don't have 1 inch diameter tubing. By the way, how do you measure copper tubing? OD or OD or ID? To you, Loopy?
ID.
You sure? Or ID? Richard?
I say outer OD.
Outer diameter?
Outer.
Normal?
I agree, outer.
Outer, yeah. What do plumbers use? Plumbers use ID. So in refrigeration, if you go to a plumbing house, you got to switch gears. They go by ID. So if you want 3/4 inch pipe, you're going to have to tell them 5/8. Okay? Because it's the inside diameter, okay, that you're looking for, not the outside. All right. You got this down. So you can make a coupling out of the next size larger tube. You can do this, right? Use the constrictor tool. We talked about a swedge. We used the swedging tool earlier, right? Then I got one more tool I want to show you. The only problem is it's a little on the pricey side. This is the Rolls Royce, not the Mercedes, the Rolls Royce in our industry, okay? And this is a Rothenberger. Now, Rigid makes this tool, so you can get a little cheaper by the name of Rigid if you buy it under Rigid. And this is called an expander tool. And what you do, insert it. Okay, now, the problem you're going to run into when you have to turn this sometimes to break it loose, to pop it loose. And what do you got? How long did that take me? Lickety split second. Dad's got one of these, right? Okay, I keep this locked up. You see anybody run out with that green box, you let me know.
How much I tackle them? What do I get for?
I don't even want to tell you how much it costs.
How much would the rigid? Tell us.
Rigid probably run you about $400. $450.
So that one's like $1,000.
550, 600. 550. I paid $450 for it years ago. Okay. I kept one in my shop. So when we went out to do a job and we had to run a lot of refrigeration line sets, I checked it out to the guy. And when it come back, I counted all the parts. And every piece better be in it. Because these guys right here are like $100. The expander, that part right there. So they don't give their stuff away. So you want to make sure when it leaves, it comes back with all the pieces. Okay? So that's an expander tool. And you can see how it works. Let me just tap this back in. See that right there? You got a tapered pin on this handle here. And when you shove this in, you'll see the fingers open up on the expander tool, and then you will see the centerpiece come out, which is tapered, which forces that out, causing your expansion to take place of the tubing. Okay, and then like I said, once again, you're gonna have to probably do this to get it to pop out, so this will retract.
So there's
Just loosen.
it does different measurements, like different.
Different.
Okay, this was 3/8 tubing.
Different pieces.
So what do I got here? Let's see what we got.
Yeah, if you're gonna clean that much.
Let's grab a piece of that.
A lot of money for
tubing.
that. If we did it.
Just so happens I got a half,
By the time we did.
5/8, 3/4, and 7/8. So I can do all those different size tubing. Okay, so what I'm missing, what I need in my collection, I've got a 3/8, half, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8. I got a complete set. That's a quarter. I don't know if they make it in a quarter. I'm not sure about a quarter. That's pretty small. Okay, so this is your expander tool. All right. And it also comes with a deburring tool.
If you were to go ask Danny for that style of deburring tool, what would be a more accurate term for it?
Say that again?
Like, say I wanted to go get one from United, and I said a deburring tool. Which one would that be exactly?
He might handle rigid. I know that Air Cold used to, well, they're gone now, but Air Cold used to handle it.
The book said it's called inner outer reamer.
Okay, so let's do a half real quick. By the time you grab your flaring block, cut your tubing, when you're doing production work in construction, fellas, you got to be quick. Time is money. All right? What do you guys think? Man, I want one of those. Okay, this is mine. It's not mine. It's the school's. Okay, I used to have one. I sold it with my company when I sold out. Should get it. Anyhow, okay, so that makes you a real nice switch. Okay, manually. You don't have to sit and tap on it with the hammer. And again, you may run across a tool like this at a garage sale, and if you look at it, you're saying, "Wow, what is that?" Hey, you've been exposed to it. You'd be surprised what you find at garage sales. You know, like wives, their husbands in the air conditioned refrigeration passed on. I know a couple guys. They had stuff out there for $5-10. $100 and some for tools. $200-300 for $5-10. You know, you almost feel like a thief to take it for that price, $5-10. You know, so, you know, throw a little extra in there if you think you gave them a really good deal.
You know, that's a price, you know.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that? Anything at all? Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Okay, that's leading us in another direction. Okay, we talked about bending flaring. That was taken care of, all right? The next project I'm going to go to is brazing copper tubing together of the same materials. Okay, so when you do copper to steel, that's dissimilar metals. When you do copper to copper, it's similar. Okay, you're staying with the same tubing. Copper to copper is pretty easy to do. You just got to learn the technique. You got to learn the skill. Okay, and so it's not that hard. It's not that complicated, believe me. But you will fight it. I'll see guys working so hard at it that they're sweating. Okay, all you got to do is fire that torch up like I taught you. 1, 2. The next thing you're going to do. Oh, by the way, we're going to do this outside or under the hood. I'm going to do it out here. I'm going to be quick about it, about turning it on. I don't want any sitting here, so I'm going to fire it up real quick, tune it in real quick. I'm not going to put a bunch of bats in here, okay? So why don't you set up the oxyacetylene for me, get that ready to go. And I'll be watching. Okay. All right, so let's talk about doing copper fitting. All right? I've got some alloys out here. And this one happens to be 5% silver. Now, the product is Harris, and it's called Stay Sealed number 5. So it's right there. This is what we're going to be using, Stay Sealed number 5. Okay, that means that it has 5% silver content. So it's a very low, very inexpensive rod. This one, you can see, uh-oh, that's welding rod. What is it? Copper and brass. Oh, okay. It's a brazing rod. But I've never used this one, so I'm not going to use this one today. But anyhow, you'll see something that says Stay Sealed 15. That's 15% silver. It makes a nicer little fitting when you're done. It cleans up and polishes up real nice. Or you can do 45% silver, which is in the coil. I'll be demonstrating that a little later on. We'll get to it today. But the higher the silver content, the prettier your work's going to come out. The nicer it's going to look. Okay.
Doesn't it flow?
While we're learning, while we're practicing, we're going to be using the cheap stuff. Okay.
Doesn't the higher silver flow easier too?
Absolutely. They still flow at 1140 degrees. 1130. Okay, what's it say in your text? 1120? Okay, so somewhere you got to get it up over a little over 1120 degrees to get it to flow. Okay? So we're brazing, we're not welding, okay? Anything over 750 degrees, I was taught, is brazing. Anything below that is soldering, okay? And we're going to be talking about doing brazing this morning. So I'm not going to say soldering, we're going to be brazing. I'm going to use a brazing rod, okay? And one of the things that you want to do, this is clean, but if the higher the silver content, what does silver do? What do you get? Your mom, dad, one of these silver dishes and things like that, stuff in the kitchen? Yeah, what happens to it?
Tarnishes?
It tarnishes. So guess what the stick will do? So what do you got to do? You got to polish it and clean it with your sand cloth. Make sure it looks pretty. Now, I forgot to grab some out of the cabinet, and I don't want to walk over there and get it in pot. So we're going to just run with this. This is clean, and this is shiny, and this is brand new, and it's 5%. So it has, you'll notice it's kind of reddish. It has a little copper tint to it. Okay, now again, you can check and read what it says here. Let's see what it says here. Phosphorus, copper, silver, brazing alloy. It says, fumes gases can be dangerous to your health. Heat rays, infrared radiation from the flame of hot metal can injure eyes. So, most people in the, you're not welding, guys, so you don't have that intense bright light. The light from, when the flame is present while you're brazing, that's bright, but it's not really going to hurt your eyes. So if you want to throw on some sunglasses or some brazing goggles, that's fine. If you got just something tinted, you have to avert that if it bothers your eyes. Your eyes may be sensitive to that light. Now, it doesn't seem to bother me, and I don't worry too much about it. But everybody in the trade field is just straightforward. You should have your safety glasses on, right, fellas? Even when you leave here. What's the number one insurance claim in the industry? Eye injury. Okay. Number one. Not people cutting themselves, not people stepping on nails, or slicing their finger on sheet metal, but objects in the eye. Okay, molten metal, debris, drilling. Why would you drill upside down and look at it? You know it's going to fall in your eyes. Or if you're doing metal work, you don't think some of those chips are not flying? Okay, fellas, so a little common sense. So you guys, when you leave here, are going to have to learn to think safe. And being safe, number one, is put your safety glasses on. And I guarantee you can walk out there. Brent, how many of you guys wear safety glasses while they're working?
All of them.
They do? Wow, okay. You guys wearing your safety glasses?
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses. Okay, as long as you got something on your eyes, that's the important thing. Because when you're working around electricity or molten metal, if you get that tubing too hot and the brazing rod, it does just like welding. Poof! You can have it pop and explode, and you got molten metal flying in the air right into the eyeball. That's why you need to protect your eyes. Okay? All right, so you got all set up for me?
Just the needle keeps going up on this one.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll take that. Whoa, did it go up? That's a little too much. Go over there and hit it in the corner and flip the exhaust hood on into that green furnace so you got the switches. Isn't that the one with the gate?
Yeah. No, that one.
Yeah,
No, the gate.
no.
As long as it
Those
holds
are my
the phone,
inside.
that's all I need for right now.
My outsides are actually.
Oh yeah, you got the dark set.
Yeah.
I got some of those.
These? They're like 200.
Okay.
But they've got my prescription.
All right, I am going to try to position this in such a way that you guys will be able to see. Nothing worse than me phrasing like this, right, guys? You won't be able to see what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to position this thing so you guys can watch me in action. And probably what I will do, you should sand all your joints and clean them up. Now I'm going to put two of these boys in here. Just kind of in here. All right. I kind of like my workstation clean. I don't like working in a messy area. That's just me. And one more thing. That's why I keep these. Victor, go out there. Water about that much cold water in the sink outside. The reason I didn't say go to that water fountain because we got to pay to cool that water off, so that'd be a waste of taxpayers' money. Right, guys? Right. I'm very conscientious about what we waste. All right. So, we're getting close to D-Day here, aren't we?
Yep.
You want to make sure you check these tips, by the way, fellas. Make sure these are screwed in tight, okay? Okay. Make sure it's snug. Now, if they start getting real dirty on you, we have some tip cleaners. How many of you guys done on gas welding? Okay, you want to make sure that you keep these tips clean. You'll get soot inside them, and you'll get this funky flame. At that point, you need to clean it. You need to stop and clean it. That's right. Cut this over here. I don't want to burn the paint on that, so that's why I'm going to do that. Got to get my nerve up to do this. All right. So here we go. Now we're going to be quick about it. We need to fire a torch up. Extra rules. Okay. I'm going to turn this on, get it tuned in real quick. Be quick about it. I don't want a bunch of soot in here. I'm going to probably have it blasting a little bit so I don't make a lot of soot. And I'll back it off. Okay. So here we go. Now we're all set up. These should all be polished and cleaned up. The trick to brazing is preparation. Okay? And you know what? Let me just grab a piece of sandcloth because Mr. Hurtado, that you showed us, you just went ahead and did. Really the right way to do it, you need to prep it. Let me show you. I'll grab a piece of sandcloth. We'll do that real quick and you'll be good to go. See, I even saved the sandcloth from last year. It comes in a roll. And fellas, you want to cut a piece that's kind of on the long side, and that's too short. But you know that's pretty good right there. So you got enough there so you can go around it. Hold on, shine shoes. Yeah, you do. You want to clean everything up, polish it up. That's all new copper tubing, so we don't have any oxidation. Now take that off. Notice I'm holding it upside down like this. I don't want any of that grit going inside it. All right? It's been deburred. That's clean there. Nice and tight. Okay, we're going to clean this one up too, because I'm going to do one. Put that back in there just a little ways, not all of it. Okay, that's all prepped, ready to go. So I did show you, clean it, even though it's new. Get rid of that oxidation, whatever little bit's on there. You want it nice and clean. You can see the difference where it's been polished, cleaned up, so that you've got a good, fresh, clean surface area. Okay, get rid of that oxidation, that scale, that dirt, that contaminant. All right, here we go. I got my rod handy. I'm all set up. And when you start working in the field, one of the things you probably want to carry with you is a 5-gallon bucket. Because you can put your brazing material, your sandcloth, you're changing the compressor, your socket sets, your tools, your hand tools. Load everything up. And that way you're not up and down the rooftop wasting energy. By the end of the day, you're going to be pretty tired. So this bucket will save you a lot of walking. Another thing, carry a rope with you. You get a lot of stuff and it gets kind of heavy. You don't want to really be carrying that. You're lopsided on the ladder. Take the rope up with you. Put the rope on your hoop. Get to the top. Pair of gloves too. Works real handy. All right, we're ready to start.
I need flux.
Go. Right there. Oh, I can feel it going through the brake belt. Here we go. Other thing I like to do, I like to put a little bit of a bow on it so I can reach around the backside. So that's kind of a little trick of the trade. You've seen that, huh? Where'd you learn that from?
My uncle.
Where'd he learn that? Get out of here. Okay, now when you start your heating process, in the book it tells you do a circle 8. Well, that's too hard for me. I can barely walk and chew gum. So fellas, I don't do that circle 8. You watch me make a circle 8 here. I have to think too. You know what? I just do that, okay? Brush it with the heat, get it even. Now you see what I'm doing? I'm pulling that heat down into the cup, because the outside's going to get hot first if you stay here, and it's not going to be the right temperature on the inside tube. Now, I don't want to get it cherry red hot, but I'm just showing you what you should. So you want to bring this heat up, okay? And you'll know when you're there. Now, then bring your heat away. You will see this will just flow around there. I could use just a little touch of. There you go. And you want to see it penetrate, get down into the cup a little bit. But that's a really nice fillet. That's called a fillet, that little curve. Okay, you don't want to just flat. I'm speaking from experience now. If you were to, now I'm going to turn this off. Oxygen first, then you're settling, right? Okay, no pop. All right, I'm going to set this over here. Let's set it somewhere where that tip won't hurt anything, okay? Now, if you get it too hot, yeah, do you have a question? Okay, you stretch. Okay, if you get it too hot, you'll see a lot of little eyes in it. Now, it's almost impossible not to get this tubing too hot. Why? Because it's small. You saw how fast it heated up on me? Okay, what you should do is probably use a smaller tip. So this tip here happens to be, it's aught, 0 size, aught. That's what we call it. So that's a pretty small tip. You could probably go a double aught on that real small, and you'd have a smaller flame and wouldn't be quite as hot. So sizing your tips are very important for the size of the tubing. Okay, the larger the tubing, you're going to need maybe a 1. Okay, and that's about the extent of it. So between a double aught and a 1 is you should have anything and everything in it. And when you start doing the great big stuff, you need something called a rosebud tip that wraps around it, and you heat all the way around it. And that is an art, figuring that one out. Now, I can do them real easy, but you guys will sit there in a rod will stick and you say, man, I can't get it. It's not hot enough. If it doesn't flow, did you see how easy that flowed around there? Yeah. It's all based on temperature. If you don't get the right temperature on there, guess what? It's not going to flow. Now, you see it cooling down. You see that scale? That's one of the reasons that in our industry, you're supposed to purge nitrogen through this tubing while you're brazing. Because if you're not purging nitrogen through your system, you're doing the same what you see on the outside, inside. Now, where's all that scale going? Into the compressor oil? Where's the oil going? Crankshaft? Cylinder walls? What's it doing? Scoring the cylinder? Heating up the bearings on the crank? All kinds of crazy things, right? All right, so before I'm not going to pull that out because I want somebody to come up here. Listen, I need a volunteer. Jason, you're always volunteering, man. Come on down then. You're the only one that's got any guts. Got intestinal fortitude. All right. I want you to get in there and beat that fitting. No, I mean, do better than that fitting. Beat would not be a good way to express that, huh? How many points? -10. Don't get caught without your safety glasses. Why? Now again, you get that too hot, poof, right in your face. Possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we don't want, that's why it's an accident. Well, you can create your own accident, You know the rule. Do it. All the signs. Stop. Safety glasses. Stop. Safety glasses. Safety glasses. Safety glasses must be worn in this area. Hurry, 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 hurry. Hurry.
Man, you did it. Tightened it too tight.
Man, that was too long. Looking good.
Good enough? I can hear you, but
Huh?
I can hear you.
That's all right. Go for it. Now time. 1 minute. See that color? You see that bluish green color starting to show? That's an indicator to you. It's telling you, hey, I'm coming up on that temperature. I'm getting close, okay? You won't see that color, and then all of a sudden it goes cherry red. Now, if it's cherry red, you had too much coffee. Ooh-wee. Too much coffee. Okay, get it in the cup. You've got plenty of silver. You see all the silver on the top side? You see all that silver on the top side? We want it down in the cup. I want to see the penetration down in the cup. It's probably within 1/8 of an inch at the top of the bell.
Oh, shit.
Oh, not my class. The harder you work at it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Key it in there, key it up, get out. Don't go back.
That's why
Unless
I
you got
messed
a big
up.
hole that you got to patch.
And you get it. And look at the ears, of course. So put that.
How about a little Batman? We got a little Batman going on here, don't we? Bad eyes. See him? Wow.
It's off.
Scared me. We need to clean that tip. Yeah. So before we go using this, we gotta get somebody to clean that tip. -5. -5. Scaring the instructor.
That wasn't my fault, though.
No, it didn't scare me. I was just kidding. Okay. Now, you'll need a bucket of water. Now, be careful. Now, watch when I insert this. I'm going to stand back and I'm going to point it away from. If you point it towards you, it'll spew steaming water right on you. So, point it kind of away and down, and it'll spray right in the bucket.
Oh, shaking like Don Knotts there, huh?
Yeah. So what he's got here, he's got a little lump right here, which is okay. You know, I mean, first time out, that's actually pretty good. I see the penetration in the cup all the way around here. You see that? He got. First he didn't. He had just around the rim. He just barely had the fillet catching. Okay, which it's not going to break anywhere, but. They say that you should, the correct way of doing it is get it down in the cup because it's around the walls and it's going to be a stronger joint. You'll never break this. This will never break. This will never leak. I can tell you that for a fact. So I look around. It's a little lean right here. I like a little more filth from my own experience. So when I own my company, I expect to see a fillet because I didn't want to pay that guy to go back and do it over. I didn't want to pay for refrigerant that was wasted because the fitting cracked. What I learned is that when I do it with the fillet, you never have to come back on it. You'll never have a leak. You may spring a leak elsewhere, but I guarantee you, this will never leak. Okay? And isn't that what it's all about? Doing your customer a service? Why'd they hire you? To provide a service, okay? And they expect a quality service, not a Mickey Mouse shade tree mechanic. I've seen work out there, fellas. It's a disgrace to our industry. So what I've done is I've kind of cleaned it up so we can look at it. And I'm going to take and dip this one. It's probably cooled off by now. But don't trust me, fellas. You don't grab it. Whatever you know it was hot. So I'm saying don't walk up and just pick it up and say, oh, I think it's cool. Let's make sure that it's cooled off. Now, Jason, you didn't do too bad. That's pretty good. That came out fairly decent. I've got penetration in the cup. Not all the way down, but almost to the bottom of the cup. But I guarantee you, but I've got a real good fillet on. I've got a nice little shoulder on. This will never break. And that's the kind of work I would like to see. You can see, if you look at it from the side, you'll see just a little bit of that curve on that fillet, all right? And so now, you can see, you can compare the two. A little lean right here. A little lumpy. It was cold. I could tell it was cold. It was cold right there because it stuck. Right? You went to put it on there, it wasn't the right temperature, and you touched it and globbed, and you pulled the stick back and it left that little glob. In other words, this little fitting tells me a story about your technique and your skill. It's like reading a book. Okay. My little 3rd-degree black belt in air conditioned refrigeration tells me everything I need to know. Because I am one with the weld. Okay, one with the braze joint, okay? Yes, sir.
Can we see that?
Sure can. I'm gonna pass them around to you. All right. Now, fellas, it's 11 o'clock. And I want to let's do one more. Let's do one more and then we're gonna go in because we need to cover some stuff in that electrical class. Since we were short, we took a holiday yesterday. Let me get another piece of tubing here, fellas. Who's the next volunteer? All right. Simon, you were the first one to get your hand up. Okay, I'll tell you what. You come over here. You cut this off. I want you to cut it off right there. And cut your finger off. Cut those off for me. And I will cut one of these here for us. Come on down here. Okay, now I'm gonna let you guys cut about a 2-inch piece. Cut 2 pieces. 2 inches. Okay.
How about all the pieces I can cut?
All right. Yeah, they all. I passed them out too quick, fellas. We're supposed to. Now, some of you guys got them. Here's what I want from you. Since we're running such a tight budget here, fellas, I don't even know how much money I have for this year. I may only have $50 to run this class for the whole semester. I'm serious.
$50, that's it?
Yeah.
Supplies.
You almost used $50 right there, just what we did this morning. I'm dead serious. We have no idea. As of today, I have no idea whether I got $2,000 or I got 20 cents in my budget. Okay, so this one's yours. Okay, now I want you to cut another piece off of there. Okay, you can take it off half if you want. You got enough? Can you cut it right there? Okay, cut it right there. And I'll set this up for you. But what should you do first? Now that looks a little dirty, does it not? Check it out. Doesn't that tubing look a little dirty? See right there? See how that's kind of grimy? You definitely want to clean that up. See that? Okay, we want to tidy that. This area right here, you can see is real dirty. Okay, so you got to polish this up. What's this stuff called? Sandcloth. Okay, you'll hear some people call it emery cloth. It's really not emery cloth. In our industry, it's called sandcloth. Okay. If you're working in the automotive industry, they call it emery cloth. A little bit different. Okay. Huh?
Didn't it say not to use emery cloth in the book?
Yeah, because it's not designed for air conditioned refrigeration. So this is, but they call it emery cloth, but it's not. They've got some stuff that's got little squares in it, like Scotch Guard makes it. It's got little grids in it, and that's really good stuff. It's better than this. I prefer that over this. So I'm going to clean this up for them so it's ready to go. Some of you guys say, man, I can't wait to try that, right? If I were in your shoes, I'd be saying, yeah, boy, you're right. I can't wait to do that. Because now you have to perfect this skill. Okay? If you can't braze, fellas, in this class, how are you going to fix leaks in the system? Well, Dexter, he doesn't know how to braze. So I'll just call Richard, have him come over and braze this shit. How long will that last? Maybe, yeah. Richard, what are you going to tell him? That you may be helping the first time, but the second time you say, you know what, Dexter? I'm going to show you one more time how to do this. You better get it, because I'm not going to come and help you anymore.
No, that's my boy. I'll do it, but you gotta pay me.
Well, that's his bud, so you're going to have to pay him. All right, you're going to get your money out. All right, so be careful. You may find yourself having to pay for assistance. So, no, believe me, all you have to do is do what I've taught you in here, and I will make you an expert before you leave here. How to patch and repair holes. Okay? You think I'm kidding? I can take and plug the whole top of that top. That great big giant. Look how big that hole is, man. It's a 1/2 inch hole, 3/8 diameter hole. Okay, I can patch that. Yeah, no way. Right? I can do it. But I don't want you doing it here because $2 a stick. All right? Too
What did they pay you
expensive.
$2 a stick?
Okay, you ready? Stick it in there. Get all set up first. Get all set up. Where's your tube? Where are you going?
Safety glasses.
You better.
-10.
What do you do with this half-inch tube? You got the tubing?
I got mine.
Tell us how you're going to do this. Now, what are you going to do first? Now, don't fire the torch over the acetylene tank, okay? Get away from the acetylene tank.
Or
Don't
your
wrap
Simon.
yourself around the hose.
Run, Simon, run!
Okay. All right. Bam! Don't get a whole bunch of gas out. There we go. Okay, bring on the oxygen. Bring on the oxygen. A little more. There you go. There you go. Good. That was quick enough. Not too many bats. Now you got a real quiet one. Okay? Pick up the tempo.
It's all in the hips.
Now,
Nice and slow, nice and slow.
you got it now. Perfect. Okay, now you see that heat? You see it changing, that ballooning? Okay, now you want to, okay, now, oh, don't change hands now.
I'm right, I can't do it with my left.
Oh, okay. Now don't melt the rod. How's he doing? Struggling a little bit, isn't he? Anybody know what the problem is? Not hot enough. You got it. Exactly. Now what's the reason for us showing you this? Just watching somebody else, sometimes you say, hey, I got it right. You ain't getting it hot now.
No.
Okay, now where's the brazing material supposed to be?
In
In the cup. I see it a ½ inch above the cup. And you're melting. Oh, and you're getting better. You're starting to get the feel of it. You're coming up to it. You got a hole there. You see that hole? You need some coffee.
I had too much, you didn't have enough.
I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, that's why. You need some coffee. Steady that hand a little bit. I see a clump on the other side. Give it a little bit of heat, see if you can get it to smooth out. Get it below it. You want it to flow into it. Remember that the brazing material will wick towards the heat. So get your heat down where you want it, and it will suck it down. It will wick towards the heat. It'll flow. It'll run towards the heat. You can make it flow uphill. Now that's doing it upright. What happens when you have to do an upside down fitting? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You better be able to, yeah, now you got to put your heat on top because you want it to go up, okay? Hey, guess what you get to do in my
Get that
class?
blue flame closer.
You get to do one right side up. That's easy. One upside down and one horizontal. And by the way, I have to check it off. I have to see it set up in the vise. I okay your paperwork and I tell you, okay, Brett, you've got one in the upright position, upside down. Pinch the tubing real
This
good,
has a little
and
bump
then
on it,
put your
but-
horizontal in there and do it. Okay? That's a new record. Just joking, Anthony. You did real good. All right, let's see how it looks. Okay, you need to get set up next, okay? I'm gonna critique this for you. That's fact. Gobbledygook. Yeah. You're out of the cup. You see this? you're out of the cup. Okay? You're way up above the cup. So you've got brazing material inside also. It can wick in there and get sucked up too. Okay? No, you're all right. You didn't get any on the inside. But if you'd heated this, got this down here first, then it'll travel on the inside wall. So you could actually fill this up with brazing material inside and not know it, though, if you weren't careful. So what you want to do is you want to get it hot, get in there, get it done, and get out. And get it to flow down into the cup. So that's what I don't want you. I don't want it coming out of the cup. Keep it in the cup. I don't care if you fall short on the cup, but not out of the cup. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Out of the belt. Okay? Out of your switch. Keep it in the switch. Now, look at the braze. Look where the brazing material is up here. You see that? It's $2 a stick. What's the boss going to say? Man, you sure wasted a lot of silver. A lot of brazing material there. $2 or $3 a stick, man. I can't afford to have you doing my brazing for me. Luffy over here. He keeps it right in the cup. See what I'm saying, fellas? Just little things like that tells a lot about the tech. Okay? But I guarantee you, before you leave this week, I want you to keep that. You get to sleep on it. Put it under your pillow. So you don't forget. All right? And I want you to remember that one. Okay? And by the end of the week, hold on to that. And we're going to look at your work compared to your first try. Okay? Here's another young man who's going to take another stab at it. All right, here we go. Let's see how he's going to do. Oh, but you know what? This time, we're going to make it more exciting. Oh my goodness. All right, now listen to me. All right. So focus on raising the heat up. So your torch will point upward into the pocket. And it'll suck right up into the cup. All right? Now that's my advice. Now the next thing is, can you do it? How we doing, fellas? Having a good time today? Glad to be back today? Or you want another day off? How many want another day off? Nope. She doesn't pay, does she? You stay away from my tank. Stay away from the tank. Yeah, stay away from the regulator. All right, here we go. Now, this one will be the upside down. How we doing?
I know you're just in the way.
What that for, right, guys? You guys get that
behind
idea?
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't see behind it sometimes. So
Because if it's
sometimes
by
you
a
need.
wall, you can't see
So
behind
what are you looking at? You need a mirror too added to your collection of tools.
Yep.
Now, a little guy like that. Yeah, all right. Please don't take my mirror, okay? That's another new one this year. They disappeared last year. Put them in your pocket, accidentally take stuff home, bring it back the next day. Wow, they didn't catch me taking it. But remember, we're on a pretty tight budget. All right. You ready? Let's cool it off. Let's check it. Let's analyze it. What you laughing about over there?
Oh no.
Get on over here. Guess what you did? I even did it for you.
You will get my safety glasses on.
Hey, we met there.
How'd that one come out? Let's see.
He's laughing at it. I think he wants to try it. Don't mind you.
I bet if we got him up here, you think he'd do better than that?
No.
I don't know.
What was the last? Man.
Don't let it get away from you. We're going to compare at the end of the week. Okay, you guys have got your fittings. Now you've done a couple here, right? He's got his, you got yours. We're going to compare them as we go along here. All right. Whoa. Okay. Not too shabby. He's just in the cup. He came out of the cup here. All right, and look at down here. He had his heat. This was upside down. So his heat was down here, so it wicked down. You can see it's a telltale right here. He's telling me that he had his heat down here and sucked it this way. You got to keep the heat up here. It'll suck it in. Okay?
So if you want the heat to travel, you just...
Yeah, the direction you want it to flow is where you need to be pointing your heat. So if I'm doing this one, I'm going to be doing this, my heat this way. Not down here. If I do, all goes that way. Okay? And you watch. As you practice, you'll get this down. It'll come to you. All of a sudden you say, wow, man, I got this art down. I've got this skill now that I know how to do it. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You just got to keep it in the pocket. I want to see a fillet. Let me look at the fillet. I like that fillet right there.
I'll hurt myself.
See that little curve? Probably wouldn't hurt to have just a little more fillet on it.
That looks ugly, but I won't leave.
Oh no, it won't leak. I guarantee it won't leak. And that's a strong fitting. Is it pretty? That's the only thing.
That's not. It's where it's
To
hitting.
me, pretty is important too. Turn the oxygen on.
That's for laughing.
You turn the oxygen on?
That's for laughing. Oh, don't blow up now.
Smoke alarm.
That's everywhere.
Get your setting a little bit higher. Get your setting a little bit higher. And then back it off and bring in the oxygen right behind it.
Hurry. There you go. Norm must have asked him.
No, you're going to blow it up. You're going to stop it. Close your oxygen down. Close your oxygen down a little bit.
Too much bats. You're gonna have Batman cape on them.
Benjamin, push down on the part where you have to slide it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to do.
I don't really like that.
Okay, good. Just bring it.
Your bats are flying.
What I tell you about wearing really good clothes and stuff. That stuff will stain your clothes. Tomorrow, so. There you go. Easy. That's good. You're good right there. You know what? Hang on before you do that. Wood? Yeah, I don't want to burn the wood. Got it? Yeah. You should be all right. See, everybody's got a little different technique. You know, you go out like that, it's a little bit different. Everybody's going to go out there and practice, and all of a sudden it'll come together. You say, oh man, I can do that 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring your torch in closer and you'll get hot quick. The heat is closer to the blue flame than it is out there on the tip of the yellow. There you go. Start to turn. You see that bluish green starting to come up? Okay, don't forget about the tube that extends inside. You got to get it hot, the right temperature, so they both are the same temperature at the same time. Okay, here we go. I think you are almost there. Don't back your heat away. Okay, Go ahead. Start getting your heat in there. Okay, now he's welding. Remember, use the heat of the tubing to make the brazing material flow, not the tip of the
So
flame.
you don't melt it.
You don't melt the rod. You're not welding. This is brazing. You heat the tubing to the right temperature. Around 1130 degrees is where you need to be to get that brazing material to flow inside. You're working pretty hard, Benjamin, aren't you?
Somewhat.
So we're going to tease him a little bit, right, Anthony? Huh? After the end of class, we're going to really get on him, write him right on out of here. Ooh, I like that gobbledygook. That's a good one. Oh, you got it off there. All right.
I'm just learning.
That's okay.
Damn.
It's all dead.
That's a bad one right there.
Oh, you melted it already. Keep on.
Are you guys getting a picture of this? You getting a gist of what and I'm not picking on anybody.
Oh, 10 points,
Oxygen, acetylene. Okay, let me check this out.
There's a next turn.
Come on over here. You get to cool your own fitting down. Don't burn yourself. Don't point it towards you, remember. Flip it upside down. Yeah, don't melt my bucket, okay? You hear it?
Yeah.
What's there?
Holes.
You see that hole? Well, that hole refrigerator. So now you know what not to do, right? We don't want the holes, right?
Yeah.
1, 2,
2 holes.
2 holes and a big old hunk of gobbledygook, right? All right, so there's our holes right here. 1. There's one more. 1, 2. And excess brazing material. Okay, give yourself a grade. What do you think? Huh?
F.
Okay, can we make that an A?
Yeah.
We can turn that into an A, can't we? All it takes is what? Practice. Practice makes perfect, fellas. And so you got a taste of what you're going to have to do to get really good, right?
Gotta
And
get that
believe
tongue
me,
in the bottom left
next
corner,
one
too.
you do will even be better. But first, I pulled the dirty trick on these two, on these guys, on this young man. I made him do a horizontal. He saw an easy one, the upright one. That's real easy. Everybody can do that one just about. Okay, then the upside down one. We got Simon to do that one, and that became a little more difficult, and I was giving him some guidance. And then we threw you on this one. That was kind of hard. You didn't even get a chance to do one of these easy ones when we jumped into a hard one. Okay, so starting it off, upright's going to be the easiest. Upside down is probably equal to the horizontal. They both require the same skill, the same trick. Bringing the heat and bringing the heat around it. You got to keep moving and brushing the heat into the cup. All right, and they both this tube that inserts inside it has to come up to the same temperature at the same time that the outer tube is, and the heat has to be on the cup to flow into this. Okay, so practice will make perfect. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to get us a little bit of practice. When you pass it around, you guys can look at it. You can see the holes in it. Okay, if there's a hole in your tubing, it failed. Fair enough? Because if it doesn't hold a refrigerant charge, that wasn't successful. That's a failure. Okay, so it's that simple. If you got any pinholes, it's a fail, an F. Okay. Any last questions for me? Okay, so you guys kind of know I'll be printing some stuff out for you guys. And so we got a couple more projects here that now just popped up. So you're saying, hold it, we haven't finished the last one. Well, we got to keep moving forward. You got to bring up the rear, and you may want to come in the morning, get set up. You might want to do a quick braze and knock these out. These shouldn't be too hard, okay? And by the way, those fittings, add another little piece to it. Braze on it, add another piece till you're ready to take the test, okay? So don't take that copper and throw it away. We're going to have we'll have a bucket out here, fellas, out here. And I want you to throw all the scrap tubing into that bucket. And you can reach in there and pull scrap out and keep adding to it, okay? You can cut it, you can braze, just so keep using that stuff over and over till you're ready for your final 2-inch pieces, all right? And show me your work, say, what do you think of this, Mr. Dodd? Does that look good? Is this acceptable work? Or is it not? And I'll tell you, I'll critique it for you. I'll say, yeah, you need a little more practice. Yeah, you know what? You're ready for the test. You're ready to go. Let me see your upright. Let me see your horizontal. Let me see your upside down. Let's see. And now, I want you to pinch it in the vise. You're going to set up the upside down and the horizontal and the vise at the same time. And you can stick the other one in there too, right side up. So you'll stick all 3 of them in there. And what you do is just kind of snug it up. And then when you get all 3 in position, just bear down on it. You know what? Just pinch the upright, the upside down one, and the horizontal. The other one I want you to just bear so I can tell the difference. So when it's upside down,